Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Football Show. I guess part of the reason why we changed the name of it is so we can obviously include Champions League football talk in this, and obviously we all saw the
Oh,
final,
yeah.
record-breaking final,
Convenient,
biggest margin of
convenient,
victory ever.
convenient.
Some
Chelsea have
wait,
qualified.
for the viewers, obviously we won't say who, but some said their head or heart, or whatever one, saying Inter Milan 3-2 win. Oh man, but yeah, what do we think? What do we think
Yeah,
about the
like the
final?
majority of people that know about football. Yeah,
Hey,
I don't
listen,
think. I
I,
don't
I
think
had
there's no
PSG
one.
win. I
I don't think
don't.
there's not. Yeah, you might have had PSG, but
I
you
had
didn't have
PSG
five
win.
nil.
What did you
You
have,
didn't have. You
James? What
didn't
did you have?
have 5-0 walkover.
What
You
did you
just
have,
went with
James?
your heart.
What
That's
did you have,
complete
James? What did
rubbish,
you have,
still.
James? What did you have, James? I wish
I
all these
think I
games were
think I
part
can
of score
speak on
predictions,
behalf
man.
of the
I wish they
majority
were
of
all
football
part of.
fans. The reason why everyone thought it was going to be a tight game is because of Inter's defense, and I think the history of Inter Milan. I think if you take those factors out of the equation, I think on paper PSG had it all day long.
But that's
But
the.
guys, being
I
serious,
totally
yeah.
agree with
Yeah,
you.
go
I
on.
agree with you, Seth, because that's the point. There's no point in doing it then if you're going to take out factors. You might as well just have a free for all and do like a predictions weekend score and just put silly scores down, you know? But anyway,
You know
yeah,
what?
what a
You know
start
what?
today is. It's
You know what?
irrelevant discussing the
Being
Champions League.
serious though, yeah. Being serious, guys, it's sad though. Like you know what I was saying. I watched it at Rezanfan's house, right? And I was saying, if that was a boxing match, right? If that's a boxing match, as soon as the second goal goes in, it's finished. It's finished. You stop the fight there and then, because obviously football is a fight. You're not obviously punching anyone, but it's a fight for 90 minutes on the pitch or extra time, whatever. But at
Yeah, but
2
then they
nil.
don't do that because then Liverpool wouldn't have won the Champions League when they were 3-0 down at half
Yeah,
time.
but no, no, but like, I'm
Do you
talking
know what
like
I mean? So that's
no,
another
no, no. But
stupid
I've
thing
got
to say.
no, no. But there's
Oh,
context on this
yeah.
one. Inter Milan, that squad, a lot of their players, obviously, they've been past. They're on their last legs. Like the average age of that squad,
Yeah.
Liverpool is different. Liverpool is different. I'm not saying obviously Liverpool were clear underdogs, but you compare the age profiles of that Liverpool team and this Inter team. There's almost a decade in terms of the average age of that age gap. That Inter have got guys nearly 40 years old in this team. Cherby, obviously guys like that. They've done very well. But when you look at the PSG team, how youthful they are, nah, man. Nah, Inter now. This is where you know most of this squad now they need a refresh this summer and they need a rebuild. But I don't know if they've got the finances to do it. Obviously, Italian football.
Who's their manager now for the new season?
Inter. I mean, I know the manager. I know Inzaghi's gone to. Is it Saudi now, isn't it? So I don't know who's. I know Fabregas. They're linked to Cesc Fabregas, but I know obviously Como are saying he's not for. He's not for sale as manager, but Fabregas will leave. He will leave. Come on, like
I
Inter
don't think he
Milan, you're not
will.
gonna. He will leave. Like
I don't think
Como.
he will.
They've reached. They got promoted. Obviously finished mid-table. Their budget. I've no
But I
knowing
think the
Fabregas.
thing
He's
is,
a winner. He's
Fabregas
a
has
winner. Fabregas is
personally
a winner.
invested himself into that
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
So I
He's a
think that's
winner.
why.
I think what's going to happen, right? Obviously, the owner came out and said he's not going anywhere. But I think later on, as the summer goes, I think him and the owner they'll have words. Then the owner will, Fabregas will tell the owner he wants to leave. Then he'll be like, "Oh, damn, okay, he wants to leave. Let's go negotiate with Inter now for the price and how much the payout and everything like that." That's why I think. You know how these stories always end, innit? They always go down the same way. But James, go on. What do you have to say about it?
Well, no, I don't have much to say about like the Champions League and all that. I thought people saying, "Oh, they finally won it. They didn't have any superstars, but they had to have them superstars for a number of years to get to where they are." Do you know what I mean? So there's bits and pieces, but it comes back to sort of like that final is like a one-off. You're not going to get a 5-0 final for another few more years. Do you know what I mean? It's a one-off scenario,
I mean,
but it's a
never.
scenario. It's a scenario that no one would have predicted at all. And that's the whole idea. So no one can sort of like claim, "Oh, I told you, oh, this." It's irrelevant whether you told everyone you were going to go for PSG or you told everyone you were going for Inter Milan. No one said, "I'm going to put my feet up and PSG are going to win 5-0." No worries. That's what I mean. So it's like it's an irrelevant conversation. Champions League's done. PSG have got it. I'm pleased for their manager. That's the most important thing for me. Second manager to win a treble in two different clubs. He probably deserved it. I feel sorry for Inter because it was probably like that famous thing in life, not just in football. Hindsight. It was probably one game too many for that Inter Milan squad, but that's hindsight. Let's get on with it. Let's move on. They will restructure like Chelsea have been doing for the last 2 or 3 years with a young squad. They've got to ship out a lot of people. So you would know that, Sion. That's what Chelsea have been through. Chelsea are coming good now. It'd be interesting how they cope. Do they still need a bit of experience in the Chelsea squad for the Champions League? I don't know, but they've signed Delap. That's a good signing. Young again, but they've been through 2 or 3 years of like having to sort of like go to the conference to get back into it, and then they won. I think they won 4 or 5 out of their last 6 Premier League games to get that Champions League spot at the end of the season. But in terms of Champions League, good luck to you. I think the format is wrong, but I don't. The only thing I like about the new format is that you can't drop out of a competition when you've come third and go into another one. I think that was already like a ridiculous rule that it's like having 2 shots at something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You have
yeah,
one
yeah.
shot.
I agree. I
If you're
agree.
in the
Yeah,
champ, like because Chelsea were offered to either go Champions League or Europa. I
yeah,
don't know if you know that they were offered that.
yeah, yeah. I knew. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
obviously Chelsea are going to choose the Champions League, but like a lesser club who may want to try, if you look at the Premier League, most of the Premier League teams would want to get into Champions League, but there might be a few that might think, actually, will I go longer in the Europa League and gain more financial money and have a chance of winning that? Because
Mm.
I could say yes to the Champions League, but if I can't drop down into the Europa League, if I don't qualify, I'm out. But other than that, you know, let's hope
Yeah.
Graham Potter can give West Ham a bit of European football in the next year or two. But the statistics I've done over the season for West Ham when we review West Ham, wow, it's very, very interesting. But PSG, happy days. But there's a lot
And
more. There's a lot more students wearing PSG tracksuits in school.
oh yeah, them. Yeah, I can never. I don't. I never get that, man. I never get that. It could never be me. But I seen obviously Ousmane Dembele. Obviously, odds on like bookie's favorite now, clear favorite for the Ballon d'Or. What do we think about
You
that?
know my views on the Ballon d'Or. Sorry to,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
a
yeah.
fan of it because it should just be called an entertainer striker Ballon d'Or award. You're never
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
get a
But
goalkeeper. You're never going to get a defender. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
a fair. It's not a fair
I
award.
still
That.
think Van Dijk should have won it in 2019, but
But but that's what I mean. But
yeah.
if who do I want to win it? I don't know. I don't know. People have put Mo Salah up there, but I don't think he's done significantly enough.
For me, Dembele has to win it,
Dembele,
man. For me,
Dembele should win it, really.
has to win it, man. Ross?
I totally agree. I mean, we're speaking about Dembele and we're talking about the trophies he's won. I think we're forgetting that France are playing tonight. There's still a UEFA Nations still on play.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, they could be shameless of winning another trophy. So you can say Dembele's done it domestically and
Mm.
internationally. Yeah,
In the Club
definitely.
World Cup as
I
well.
think it's
In the Club
clear.
World Cup as well, yeah.
I think he's very clear in terms of the rankings. I think 3, 4 months ago we had the likes of Rafinha, Salah,
Hmm.
even maybe Yamal, if you really wanted to put him there.
Jared
Remember
Bowen.
prior to this final, they were talking about Lautaro Martinez, had he won it. So all of these players, I think, but now I think Dembele, the way he performed in that final, the hunger, the mentality, the 2 assists, he was just brilliant. I think just to just touch on PSG again, I think they worked as a team. They came together collectively. Like Mr. Dan said, huge respects to the manager, huge respect to the players. There was no ego. Everyone wanted it. When you look at the front three, Kvaratskhelia got a goal, Doué got 2 goals and assist, Dembele got 2 assists. It was even. It wasn't one man stole the show.
Hmm.
And we need that. And I think clubs are sometimes, I'll admit myself, Man United, we're too over reliant on Bruno. We're too over reliant on individual brilliance or qualities. Hence why we've been so bad. But going back to PSG, they've had such all-rounders. Every position in the pitch was balanced.
I think also
From
you make a good
Donnarumma
point.
to Mendes to Vitinha to
You make a good
João
point.
Neves. It was just brilliant.
They went there and they took the final from the first whistle. They
Yes.
took it on. There was no caginess. There was no like, which you
They just had a
sometimes get
proper
in a
game in it,
final.
yeah.
But we've watched finals. We've all watched finals, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, World Cup finals. The first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it's all very cagey. Everyone's like, do you know what I mean? Whereas PSG were just like, didn't give in to a chance. Didn't give them a chance.
Like if you
So
look like if you told like if someone was new to football, right, they're coming into the game and you told them like PSG, they usually have the French league wrapped up by March, but this is the Champions League final. This is the biggest game in club football. First 20 minutes, they would have said, "Is this Ligue 1?" is this League on or is this actually a Champions League final? But yeah,
One interesting fact was
PSG now.
that Inter was only 6 minutes behind throughout the entire competition. You come into the final
Oh,
and it all
yeah,
went out
yeah,
the
yeah.
window.
The bar when Rafinha put them ahead second leg, yeah.
So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, like everything went out the window. But as football fans, we know that you can't just eliminate that. You do have to take in that into consideration. But I think, as we said before, this is just one of those finals you will never see before, see again. We as football fans, you don't often see finals like that. The last time I could think of a battering was Man City Watford in the FA Cup. Other than that, almost every single final is edge to edge.
And when you look
And
at, yeah, go on.
yeah, sorry, go on, yeah.
Go on, go on. No, I'm saying when you I said, as I mentioned, when you look at the age profiles, I think Marquinhos was the oldest player in that starting 11 at 31. Dembele's next at 28. 28 is like you're now going into your prime. So only you could say one person in that team is probably past their prime. And you look at the average, you look at the rest of the team, most of them mid 20s, early 20s. So obviously they always say the first one is the hardest one to win. But now for the next 3 to 5 years, I'm not seeing like these players. Why would they want to go anywhere else? Obviously, I get it. PSG then might not be the biggest club in the world, but right here, right now, the chemistry they've got. You
Mm.
look at the sort of bigger clubs in terms of like stature and stuff like that. They're unstable. The balance at some of those clubs aren't right. I see
Mm.
Kvaratskhelia 4-0 up, 78th minute, chasing Denzel Dumfries down the wing into his own half or final third to win the ball back. I see
Mm.
that at like sort of Real Madrid, for example. Will Vinicius Junior do that? Will Mbappe do that? For
Mm.
example, so this squad they will be favourites or like joint favourites,
Yeah,
maybe
see, I
behind Real
would,
Madrid for winning the
see,
Champions League the next few years.
yeah, see, and I would agree with that if we were in the old format. But
Yeah.
with the new format, I think they coast it and they qualify, but they
Mhm.
could come up against the best team in like the last 16 of the quarter final,
That's the one
and
thing I
that's
like. Yeah.
that. Yeah, but you like that, but then you're not getting the best teams like in the final. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah,
And
but
like
now at
really,
least it means now the winner, the team, at least you know the team that wins it is less likely they're gonna have a cakewalk to the final. You know they're gonna have to have earned it to win it.
yeah, but
That's the flip side of it.
Didn't PSG at one stage, or was it? I did hear. So I thought they talked about them. Or
Mhm.
in remember in the group stage, the early doors of the group stage, they just literally got in
Yeah,
I
I
know
think it's
PSG.
14th, 15th.
Yeah, yeah.
14,
So yeah,
15th,
PSG
weren't they?
finished around like the mid-table. They clicked after Christmas, New Year.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if they didn't get just like they could have just not in. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they weren't in the top five all the way.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, but no, enough of Champions League. Anyway, this is the London football show here.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know,
Moving on. Next,
oh,
Premier League team of
London.
the season. Premier League team of the season. So we'll pick.
Oh,
This is Premier League now. So what's it? We go from back to front. Our best player in that position throughout the season, starting in goal.
Sales.
Sells. Yeah, Sells takes my vote as well.
is
Forest.
that who? What is that? The Forest keeper?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you look at it, I think you've got to go for that because he's the big Mister. He's been consistent out of the top teams.
Yeah.
Like Allison hasn't played the whole thing.
Yeah.
Pope's had a bit of an injury. Uh, the Arsenal keeper, Ray, like,
Raya. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I'm happy with that
Second.
one.
Raya would have been, yeah. If it wasn't for Sells, if Sells like with Forest, because it was so
Didn't he
unexpected, if it
get the
wasn't for
joint
him.
golden glove? Didn't he? He got
Yes,
joint
yeah, yeah.
golden glove.
Raya would have
Yeah,
been
let's go
my
for him. Let's
Raya
go
would have
for
been my
Forest.
second.
Let's go for the Forest goalkeeper.
Yes, I agree. Right back.
Well, this is a difficult one, isn't it? Because you
I've got my
definitely
right back. I was
go on
yeah.
then.
My Timber for me. Yuri Timber, Arsenal. I think he's been excellent. I think he's been excellent all season. Very difficult to beat in one-on-one situations. It would have been for, like someone like maybe Ola Reina, but I feel like I've seen his form sort of
Ah,
tailed off towards the end of the season. And then my other contender was Munoz, Crystal Palace. But I think Timber's been the best right back in the league.
See, it depends on like, it depends on the sort of formation.
Oh yeah, you can go with what I'll claim
Wan-Bissaka,
to go four two
Wan-Bissaka,
three one.
Wan-Bissaka. You know,
Mm,
players like that.
I'll
maybe,
probably choose
but
Munoz
you're
over.
gonna go. He's Ross is going Munoz. Timber's for me. And okay, so go on. So we've all gone different on that one. Centre back pairing. Centre back pairing. I've got Van Dijk and Milenkovic. Palace. I mean Forest centre back. Forest centre back and Van Dijk. That's my centre back pairing.
There's not been much
Van
stand
Dijk. I agree
centre
with Van
backs.
Dijk. I agree with Van Dijk.
Hmm.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Milenkovic is for me my other centre back.
Like I like what's his name, but I don't know how much he played this season. The Newcastle lad, Dan
Oh,
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn.
Burn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Burn
'Cause He
played.
reminds he reminds me of like an old fashioned centre back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of rough and ready. You know.
Hmm. Ross.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go for Van Dijk. Second defender.
Yeah, Van Dijk's been excellent. He's obvious, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. It's been tough at centre back,
It's been
but
like I've been honest, like Van der Ven has had his moments, but obviously the injury, the
yeah, nah,
inconsistencies,
Spurs 17th. Yeah, nah. Can't do that.
it's a bit difficult because Premier League football's changed completely. Goals are just flying in left, right, and centre. You don't see teams keeping clean sheets no more.
Yeah, yeah. So whoever you're picking, they're conceding
Who's the
goals.
Palace? Who's the Palace guy who plays for
Oh,
England?
Mark Gahey.
Yeah.
No,
Mm,
he's been a
I
bit
mean,
reckless.
Milenkovic has been excellent for Forest.
I
Excellent.
think Milikovic. I think
He's
yes,
been
it.
excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
go on, I'm happy. I'm happy.
left.
I'm gonna
Yep.
fight for two players, so don't worry about that. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to.
Left back. Left back. Go on. Left back. I've got Kirkes, Bournemouth.
For me, number one, Kirkes. Guardiola,
Robinson.
second.
Robinson. Who?
I was gonna say Guardiola. I
Oh,
think
Vardy
as
second for you. For me,
yeah,
second. Robinson, Fulham. I think Vardy.
Robinson. He's
I
been
remember
great,
first half of the season. You know when City were on that losing run,
yeah.
Vardy was terrible. Vardy was
But I feel
awful.
like Guardiola came in clutch
He
for
came in
them quite
clutch.
a
He
few
did.
times.
Yeah, he did. But
Yeah,
yeah, for me it would have been Kirkes or Robinson. Who's yours, James?
Curtis. I think I'd agree with that.
Kirkes.
I think they've
Okay.
been quite a surprise package.
Hmm. It would be wrong to not have a Bournemouth player in this team. Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's
I think
my
they've been a
Bournemouth.
surprise package.
What do you? I've got my team. I've got a double pivot and a number 10. But you guys, you don't have to. You guys can
This is
play.
about your double pivot and all that. Just get four midfielders in it and two strikers. It don't matter where you play them. Come on,
Yeah, well,
midfield.
you do yours then, innit? So
Well, come on, just get yours because I can name four. Oh, Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen has to be in
And Caicedo, Gravenberch and Caicedo double pivot.
there.
Gravenberch and Caicedo double pivot and
Oh,
Morgan
dear.
Rogers.
He's
Morgan
learning
Rogers.
far too much from average Joe's, the team he's transferred to, leaving Ditch and all that.
Morgan Rogers number 10. Morgan
You're, yeah,
Rogers.
the Chelsea player, Cassie, he's got to
Yeah,
be in there.
Caicedo and Gravenberch, my double pivot. Go on, Ross.
I think Caicedo definitely gets in. Gravenberch as well.
Gravenberch
I
can't be
feel like
left
you know
out,
what it
man.
is. Like I feel like McAllister has been
He's
underrated,
very
or
unlucky, but yeah, yeah.
I think he's rated. But it's like, how do you fit him in the squad? How do you
Who,
fit
who's
him
that?
in?
Who?
Alexis
McAllister.
McAllister.
Oh, yeah. Good player.
McAllister,
Very
I
good.
think he does deserve it. But I feel like Gravenberch slightly edges it for me.
Yeah,
Just ever so
Gravenberch. Yeah.
slightly.
James.
He's had a good season, though, Gravenberch. Did he get the Young Player of the Year?
Uh,
Is that what I'm thinking about?
that's a good question. Let me see who got it. Young Prem. Oh no, I think this they might have blundered. Premier League Young Player of the Year. Young Player of the Year.
See, it pains me to say it, but someone like, someone like, you could tell who I'm going to say because I'm struggling to say his name, but you
Yeah,
know,
Gravenberch won it. Yeah.
yeah, someone like Declan Rice has had a good season, but
Mm.
do you know what I mean? I just think he carries Arsenal a bit too much, you
Yeah,
know. But
I think Partey's had an excellent season for Arsenal as well, man.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's a shame that
So
one.
James, who's your
No, I'll go
midfield?
for the two that you said, the
Oh, okay.
Gravenberch and
And then the number 10 as well. Number 10 for me, I got Morgan Rogers for Villa. But you two might have something else.
I'm gonna go for two strikers, I think.
Oh, okay, so fair. So I'm doing that's fair because I'm doing 110 and
you're
then
doing a triple back somersault or something to do with pivots. So you could do
what's
it
your
in
team?
that. Yeah.
What's your team? Are you playing? Oh, you're playing four midfielders, James. So who go on? So you said four. You're
Yeah,
doing four.
I'm going the traditional 4-4-2 here
Okay, so what's
because,
your wingers?
but I would have gone three centre backs and two wingers, and then three in the midfield, and then two. But so my midfield would be them two that you've mentioned. Bowen's got to get in there, and then
I
it's a
feel bad for
difficult
the striker I'm going to leave out my team, but
it's
I'm
a
sorry.
difficult one because it's hard because like, do I just put Salah out wide just to get him in and not up front? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I've got two up front that I want up front, but they're a bit wild. Um, I'll have to come back from my other midfielder before we just. Like, I'll have to just see what you boys want to do up front. What's Anthony? What are you doing in your midfield? What are you
The
going
thing
with?
is, I'm trying to be like even, unbiased. But the thing is, I'm thinking Salah has to be there.
He's in my team. Yep,
Either striker or as a right wing, he needs to be
yep,
there.
Yeah,
yep,
agree.
For me, it's
yep,
Isak number nine.
yep,
Full
yep,
stop.
yep.
He's
That's
number
my
nine
number
for me.
nine.
Isak, 100%,
Yeah, yeah,
100% Isak.
100%,
There's
yep.
no doubt about that. But then now this
100%.
is the question. Like, and now I'm looking at, even though they might have not scored the most goals, but who's had the most impacts? Bowen has contributed, I think it's 40% of all West Ham
I
goals.
know, I know, but guess what? There's someone, there's someone who you guys there is, who it is, who's in my team. I've
Well,
put
there's
Wissa,
not
obviously
someone we've
Salah.
missed. We haven't had a chance to discuss every
Wissa
single
and
club
Bowen.
still. You're
Nah,
not
They
nah,
do
not
amongst,
deserve it
I
as
think,
well.
these
not even
players.
them. Mateus Cunha, excellent season for
Yeah,
Wolves. Have you seen
yeah,
Mateus Cunha this season? Excellent.
You're right,
yeah.
him as well. But
Left left mid.
I feel like
He's my
This
left
is where
winger.
this is where it's different, Seal, because the Samsung's going on like what they've
He's
contributed, assist, and all that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it's opinions, like
Cunha, Isak, Salah. That's my front three.
I feel like Bowen carried West Ham further,
Yeah,
in my
Yeah,
hundred
yeah, that's
opinion.
percent.
fair. You guys
Jared
both have
Bowen, he's got to be in there. I don't know how you can not have him in
I
your
mean,
11.
yeah, for me, the problem is for Bowen. It's like it's either striker. It's either, the reason why Bowen's not in my team. I can explain it. It's because Isak's my number nine, and then the only other place Bowen could be in my front three is right wing, but Salah's there, and so Bowen doesn't play left wing, so that's the reason he's not in my team. So it's nothing to do with Bowen. Bowen, excellent season, but it's the other players in his position that are in my team. That's why he's not in my team. Cunha plays Wolves. Wolves play two number tens. Like Wolves play a back three, and they play that two behind the striker, and Cunha comes in from the left. So that's why Cunha, because I don't think the natural left wingers in this league, I don't think anyone's had a good
But
season.
he's not going to get in though, Seal, because me and Rest haven't got him in.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's
So
individual
he's not
teams.
going to get in.
It's individual teams. It's
Yeah,
individual teams, anyways.
yeah. So we're going for Jared Bowen because there's two of us that said him. We've all
Yeah,
said
yeah, that's
Salah
fine.
and
That's fine.
Ishak or whatever his
So,
name
so
is.
Bowen's playing where left wing, where he's not played. Okay.
It's,
Sion,
Yeah, yeah,
Sion. It's a
yeah, yeah.
Premier League 11. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, interesting.
yeah,
It's nice. I just didn't
yeah,
know. I didn't say anything. All
yeah,
I said is I didn't know Bowen's
yeah.
a left
No,
winger.
you didn't
That's
say
all I said.
anything. You just said something. Put your thumbs up as if
Yeah.
you're demeaning what's going on
Oh
here.
no,
Yeah,
no. So I
yeah.
asked you a question.
So
I'm asking you a
let's
question.
like
But Bowen plays left wing.
this
Yeah,
is
he plays
someone who
left
gave
wing.
up on Chelsea halfway through the season and now he thinks they're glorified Champions League conference winners and everything. Yeah,
Wait, who said that?
right. Yeah.
Who said
So
that?
there we go.
Who
There we
said
go.
that? Viewers,
There
go
we go.
rewind. Go back to the start of the episode. Let me know where I said that. Let me know. But yeah. Anyways, Crystal Palace owner. It's a topic where obviously I think it could have happened with United and Leon last season, if I'm not mistaken, where the owners of two clubs they obviously can't play in the same European competition. So obviously now I've read in the news, Palace, his owner, he have to sell his shares now. That's the only way for them to play Europa League football next season because is it Leon? I think it's Leon as well, where they've also qualified for the Europa League. So there's something needs to be done about this situation, like to avoid it in the future, like having to sell shares and all this mess now. Should you be allowed to buy two clubs from the same continent where there's a potential chance they could meet in that competition? Not obviously Europe is like the most common case of it, but South America, wherever it is. What do you think on that about that?
for me, there's
Well,
two
it's rolling.
answers. Number one, no, because it becomes a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But secondly, we've seen teams in the past have multiple ownerships. Why is it only a problem when Palace is playing? I remember this certain news also arose when Man City and Girona qualified for the Champions League. Now, if I remember correctly, both of them played in the Champions League. So whatever happened, whatever mediation, whatever settlement took place for both of those clubs to play in the Champions League, I'm sure they can come to the same resolution for Palace and whether it's Lyon. And again, no shade towards Lyon, but I've heard they're going for a crisis. They're on a transfer ban. I think they don't have the funds. So if you're looking at it from a business and an economic perspective, surely Palace should be the ones. that should be given the green light, regardless of whether they're the minority stakeholders or not.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
Lyon are not able to financially compete with that competition, why then are you allowing them to then enter the competition only to then forfeit? I think from a morality perspective, that's just unfair, unjust to Palace. And then again, it just comes back to the conflict of interest. Like, why is it that we have certain rules or clauses, whatever appendices they want to call it, regarding multiple ownership? Even myself with United, I don't agree with it. You stick with one club. I understand football is a business,
Mm.
but me as a fan, I'm paying money because I support one club, not because today I want to go watch Man United and then tomorrow I'm going to go watch Real Madrid. No, that's not how it works. You stick to one club, so I expect the owners, the shareholders, the business directors, everyone to then also put their energy into one club as well. You can have your assets in other places outside of football, that's fine. That's a completely different topic. But as a football owner, put your trust and faith into one. You're trying to overthink it, putting your eggs into different baskets. Oh, what if this fails? What if that fails? No. Have confidence in yourself. Back your team. Support them. Don't be having
Mm.
plan Bs. That's where you fail, and that's where Man United has failed and will continue to fail unless we take action.
But
But we
we
know that's not going
we
to
had a
happen.
similar we had the similar story with the Forest owner, didn't we? Because he actually left or sold or transferred his shares in that other club he's got because he thought Forest would get to the Champions League or something. But I agree. I think my first point is rules are rules. That's the rules. I think they were going to offer Crystal Palace if they wanted to go in the conference. But I then agree with what you're saying, Miss Anthem, is who do you decide which club has to do that? Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? You have to look at it and like if you're basing it on does the bloke own more shares in Palace or less shares in Leon or whatever it is, you know? But the bigger picture is what you're saying, Miss Anthem, which I fully agree with. The bigger picture is that if we're going to have rules, then we need to look at the bigger picture of people co-owning and sharing and doing too many things in different clubs. Because this is the problem you have when two clubs get into the same competition. What do you do?
Yeah.
Do you know how do you manage that? How do you sort of make it a fair and impartial sort of situation where there's no like but then like it's sort of yeah it's an interesting one because we never used to have this problem years and years ago. The only problem we used to have years and years ago is about the loan player situation. Players go out on loan, they play in the League Cup for a lower team, and then they come back on to their club, and then that team still they can't play in the League Cup because they played already.
Mm.
You can only play for one club in one tournament. You should only be a part owner of one club in that tournament.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting two goes at it. But I don't
Mm.
know what they're going to do. I think they get away with it because I think, like you said, Man United and I can't remember that other team you said, the Southampton have done it before. But money talks, money situation talks. Things will happen, and
Is it not?
there'll
Yeah.
be behind the
United get
scenes
killed.
stuff. Sorry.
I'm trying to think of last season. I remember when United obviously won the FA Cup to get in. Ratcliffe, is it
Ratcliffe
Nice?
was
Was
Lille,
it Nice or is it
Nice, or
Nice?
yeah.
I'm not sure if both United and Nice. Where did Nice finish last year? Did Nice end up playing Europa League as well? I can't even remember. Or did they
But I
finish?
know explicitly Man City and
Maybe
Girona,
they
that
did.
was a conflict of interest. Somehow still
Yeah,
they had the green light. So
they
I'm
both play
sure
Champions League.
both of them play Champions League. So I'm
Mm.
sure
You can imagine. You can imagine in like 5 years, 10 years, if they don't sort this out, when they do the draws, they'll be saying this club can't be drawn with this club because they have the same owner. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's
yeah,
just
I can
stupid.
remember. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when they say they can't draw this team because they're in the same
yeah.
city, or you know what I mean? It's like bloody hell. That's
Hmm.
just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous.
Imagine there's a
It's,
way.
it's
Imagine
like
just
playing
one
Jared Bowen on
ridiculous.
the left
Yeah,
side.
go.
You know what I mean? Which he occasionally has done this season. But anyway, we won't bring that back up.
Yeah, go on. Transfer window. Last to wrap it up. What do you think your
I thought
squad?
I've done all this homework on West Ham season.
Yeah,
Done all
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Like, I thought we were
yeah. So
reviewing each club's season,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the
No, no.
difference
So
between
so based on the
Potter,
based on
Locatelli,
your
and all
respective
this.
clubs, based on your
You know?
respective club season, what areas do you think you need improving on in the summer transfer window based on how your
I
club
think
season?
the summer transfer window. I don't think everyone can have an opinion on their club of who they need, what they need. But
Yeah,
bottom
yeah,
line is contracts run out, teams will leave, like players will leave. So like you just have to see once everyone's gone. When they don't. Once we go into like now June or the end of
yeah, yeah.
June,
But
the
I'm saying, what
contract.
do you want to see happen? What do you want?
I just want West Ham to win a few games.
I
I've
mean,
only seen them win 5 times at home this
let's be
season.
real, guys. Yeah, in other news, when it comes to the transfer window, water is wet, the grass is green. We go into next season with whoever we're playing. The only thing I could say is Liverpool, fair play to them. They've got the ball rolling. They're clearly showing that Prem was not enough.
Serious, man.
They're on it. So are some other clubs. I mean, certain clubs, finishing third or second, 3 years in a row, I don't see any reaction. Don't see any response. Your
We
Chris
know
this, Sesko that. I'm not
We
seeing
know,
any
we know
movement.
certain, like we know what everyone wants to see is like, oh, Arsenal going to buy a striker? Like, what are Arsenal going to do?
Oh,
You know?
they'll definitely buy a
I mean,
striker.
I mean, we ask this
We said
question every
this
single
last time,
year.
and it's
Surely Arteta,
We
surely.
ask this question every year, but we don't get anywhere. It's stationary. It's almost a
and
cycle.
he survives. He can't survive another season if he does not win. I'm not worried about the Champions League or anything, right? He has to win the Premier League to stay in his job. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He can't go another season
The thing is, he
without.
most
Think
likely
I had
won't go
Arsenal as my
another
FA Cup winners
season.
this year. I predicted Arsenal to win the FA Cup this season, man.
The thing
I
is,
actually thought
they will have another good season. Don't get me wrong, they'll have another good season. That might not amount to anything,
I
but
think the
that'll be
biggest.
enough for the owners.
Here's another question then with something for you. And like I can say this because West Ham are West Ham, we know that. But like, if everything stays the same, can Man United and Tottenham afford to have another season like they've had in the Premier League?
Oh, definitely not.
So what happens? Do you give both managers till what? Not even Christmas, October, November?
The thing is, with Man United, how do you even describe it? Because
Yeah.
you you describe it as progression, right? So progression is doing better than what you did the previous season, or for us, the current season that just went, which was 24-25. There's no, I'm sorry, I refuse to believe we're going to finish 16th and lower again. If not, that's now relegation. So it has to be up and onwards. Obviously, Sion was at the game when I watched the Europa League final at home. I was quite a reaction after the game. I did say I wanted Amarin gone. However, had some time to think about it. Now I'm here thinking Amarin has to either win a trophy, which is not exactly easy for him because he only has Prem, FA Cup, and League Cup. He's very
really
limited
two
now.
because you ain't winning the Prem, so it's down
We're
to
not
two
winning the
options.
Prem, so
Down to
that
two.
leaves us with two options. And
All
then
right.
the second thing is, if he doesn't win a cup competition, he needs to get top four or top five if the English clubs progress through. And I don't see that happening. But then, am I being too optimistic? Am I being unrealistic? Am I being a bit too far ahead? Am I being harsh based on the result against Spurs? Is it my emotions that's getting in the way of how I'm seeing the club?
Yeah,
For
I think it's your frustrations, some of them. I think Man United fans are frustrated.
I mean, I can go on and
yeah,
on.
They've tried everything.
I'll
They've
make it
tried
clear as day.
everything.
Which
Cunha's a good signing.
is a
Cunha's a
good,
good signing.
clear as
Have
day.
you
Yeah,
got him? Have you got him? Is
yeah, it's
that
been
Yeah, yeah,
confirmed.
confirmed?
Cunha's
Yes,
done, and
It's
it's
done.
done.
I think they're close with Mbomo as well.
No, I think they've changed his mind or something. Something that I read something this afternoon or heard something on the radio.
I heard Mbomo's
Late
chosen United.
afternoon. Late
Yeah, Mbomo's
afternoon.
chosen United ahead of Arsenal.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
I think
for
there's something
me,
to do with the transfer late afternoon.
Oh,
You know, they've not met some money. I don't know, but
okay.
that'd be a good signing. That'd be a good signing. You worry about you. I'll be funny. You worry about Brentford next season. I tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
I know they've got that Kelleher, the goalkeeper, but if they're going to offload one or two players, you know what I mean. It's be interesting to see. But then the three teams coming up from the Championship. Oh,
straight back
I,
down next
I
season.
can't see. I can't see it. And it like, do you know what I
I think
mean? It's
Sunderland will stay up.
I
I,
really want Sunderland to stay,
I
please.
think Sunderland will
If
stay
there's just
up.
one club I want to stay in this league, I've wanted Sunderland to come back up for years. The Stadium of Light, I don't know, it's just something about that stadium. I like the Stadium of Light, man. It gives me like Premier League years. When you watch Premier League years, I see Sunderland as a Premier League club. I
For
just,
me, Sunderland is a staple Premier League club.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We talk
yeah.
about clubs that, like, we talk about the
Hmm.
big six and the teams that haven't been relegated ever, but I feel like Sunderland is one of those teams that
Hmm.
belong
You know
in the
what?
top Premiership.
I really did want
took them
Joby
years to
Bellingham
get
to
back.
stay.
Took them years to get back.
I really wanted Joby Bellingham to stay with them at least for like one season in the Prem. I'm disappointed he's gone to Dortmund already, man. I wanted one. I was thinking when they're coming up, yes, Joby Bellingham, I'm gonna get to see him play in the Prem. Nope, already gone, man. Snatched away. So disappointed about that.
And even the guy who scored the winning goal's gone to Brighton.
Oh, has
Can't,
he? Wow.
can't think. The guy who scored the winner for
Yeah,
Sunderland.
yeah. In the final.
A Sunderland born and bred, but he'd already done a deal with Brighton. I can't think of his name.
Ah.
But it's going to be an interesting. I think Chelsea are going to find it a bit tough, Sion, because you managed to rest a lot of players for the conference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Can't
now
do that.
I do think you need one or two experienced players,
100%. Yeah.
like in that sort of like you said, that 28 to 32 bracket. Not
Yeah.
necessarily towards 32, but like 28, 29, 30.
Mhm.
Had a couple of
Yeah.
years experience in the Premier League, can come
Mhm.
and sort of guide them lads and sort of
Yeah.
because he's a young manager. He's a young manager, and do you know what I mean? It's I don't. I might be wrong here, but you haven't got like an ex Chelsea player on the bench as a coaching team or anything
No,
like
I
that?
think we've got Caballero. Caballero was like when we took him from City, like towards the end of his career, but not like a major like sort of player for us in his prime. Willie Caballero is part of the coaching staff, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but that's about it, I think.
But no,
Yeah,
I
but
think
you're right.
Potter's got a difficult task. Potter, I'm giving him till like October, November.
Oh, is
He's
it?
yeah. What you got like Thomas Soucek's been one of West Ham's best players, and he doesn't really fancy him apparently, so he might be gone. We've lost good players. Yeah, all right, they've done the club well, but it's who we can attract. We've got Kudus who could go. We've got Paquetá on that case still over him.
Hmm.
What sort of players is he going to attract Potter? But he's got to come good. I think he will. I hope he does. But he's certainly not been the change that we wanted after Logatelli. But it may have been different if they got Potter first instead of Julian Logatelli. But
Okay.
we'll
Well,
see.
I guess we'll leave it there for now. Quiz next week or the week after, whenever we do the next episode. So look out for that. Take care,
You know my
everyone.
views. You know my views on a
Like, subscribe,
quiz.
and share, and we'll see you all again soon.